Hello everybody. So how do we get less calories out of fried rice than we do out of our steamed rice? Like you would think the steamed rice is healthier, right? Because it's steamed, and to fry something, it does make it a bit more unhealthy. But as the title insinuates, we're going to look at starchy foods and how can we get less calories out of them. And what this involves is something called resistant starch. And if you've been following me for a while, or you're part of any of my groups, or you're part of the HEDA Guide, you'll have heard me talk about this before, and I've done some posts on it. This video will hopefully kind of help you understand it a little bit better. So when we have a starch, a rice, and we steam it or we boil it or whatever we do, we get a certain amount of calories out of that cup of rice. That's a given, we know that. Now, if we take that rice and we put it in the fridge for 10 hours or more, we can then increase what's called the resistant starch in that rice. Now, resistant starch is starch that's resistant to being absorbed by our body, but our gut bugs love it. They thrive on it. It makes them happy. They have a party. They love resistant starch. So we don't absorb the calories from resistant starch, but our gut bugs, they go to town on it. And once our gut bugs are happy and healthy, of course, we're going to be happier and healthier. So by putting something in the fridge, studies show for 10 hours or more, you increase the resistant starch. You increase the amount of starch that cannot be absorbed by the body in that. Now, further studies have shown that if you then heat it up the next day, say for your lunch, but you forget to eat it and it cools down again, you've increased the resistant starch even further. And if the same thing happens at dinner, even further. So the more you heat and cool and heat and cool, the more you increase the resistant starch in that food. So the less calories you're getting absorbed into your body out of that starch. So that can be for rice, can be for potatoes, it can be for pasta. It works on most starches. Now, even further studies show that if now, when we're cooking our starch, let's just say rice, we got a cup of rice, we'll say there's 200 calories in that rice, we'll just say, and you add a fat or an oil to that cooking process. So now I'm about to boil my rice and I add a teaspoon of fat or oil in it. Let's just say some extra virgin olive oil, and let's just say that teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil is 50 calories. So maths would tell you that I'm getting 200 calories from the rice and I'm getting 50 calories from the oil. So I'm getting 250 calories, right? That's what you think. That's what math tells us would happen. But what in fact happens is you're cooking your rice and now you're starting to bind the starch in fat. So it's getting wrapped in fat. And then you go and you cool it down. So you put it in the fridge overnight for your lunch tomorrow. Now, not only are you binding the starch in a fat, so it's harder to absorb, you're also increasing the resistant starch in that as well. So now instead of having 250 calories from your rice and your extra virgin olive oil, you're in fact maybe only absorbing 2/3 of that. So let's just say 175 calories you're absorbing, because not only have you increased the resistant starch, but now you have bound the starch in a fat that gets passed through our digestive tract and again passed onto those gut bacteria, but we're not absorbing it. So, and this has been shown that for the likes of an old Irish favorite of ours is butter on your mashed potatoes. You do butter on your mashed potatoes and then you stick it in the fridge to keep it fresh for leftovers tomorrow. You have now increased that resistant starch. So you're consuming or you're absorbing less calories from that. And you can kind of get it, when you do have leftovers, some sort of starchy leftover, it never tastes the same as it did when you first cooked it. It's always like a little bit more waxier. There's a little bit of a different mouth feel to it. That is the increase in resistant starch to that food. So the waxier, the better if, let's say, weight loss is a thing for you, or you're having gut issues and you're trying to get in some extra food to those gut bugs. Resistant starch is a very smart way to go about supporting them and just kind of helping the healing process. But if, again, you're looking at weight loss, this is a way that you will still have your foods, but you're not absorbing as many calories. And as well, this is something that if you're following a kind of macros counting, or if it fits your macros kind of protocol, you want to take this into consideration, because what you thought was 250 calories from your potatoes, that could be your macro allocation for the day, is in fact going to be a lot less than that. So this is something that people that are following a macro kind of protocol should consider, that if they're having pasta, reheated pasta the next day, or even pre-packaged, already cooked pasta, then the calories in them are going to be a lot less than when they were originally cooked. So I hope I explained it well, and I hope people understand it. And if you are doing some sort of weight loss kind of campaign, that this becomes helpful to you. You can still have your rice and eat it, as they say, but absorb less of the calories from it. Okay, everyone, take care, and we'll chat soon. Bye.